So, Glenn McCarthy here, and I am the chair of the Guitar Council, and I just wanted to mention a little bit about myself. So I've been teaching guitar for a lot of years. Let's say I started in '76 because I can't do the math. But I started teaching a couple sections of guitar, and my principal was nice enough to let me do that because I was actually the assistant band director. I taught theory, taught jazz band, and it wasn't a full-time job, and we talked about it, and he finally agreed to, I didn't want a percussion class because there was too many drummers in the school. Pianos would have been too expensive, so we decided guitar was the way to go. And from there, in about 5 years, guitar was all I was doing, and oh my gosh, they had to hire another music educator to take that job, that basically the assistant band director, theory, jazz, and all that other stuff. So that's kind of what happened. I've been teaching ever since. I finished after 30 years at Robinson Secondary School in Fairfax County, Virginia, and presently teach at George Mason University as an adjunct professor and teach guitar methods and guitar for the music ed majors. And I still play and perform and try to stay out of trouble. So the question is, why should schools have guitar programs? Well, the question is, why shouldn't they? The point being, in our traditional music school, within, our music department within a school, you've got, I'd say band and chorus is what you find throughout the country. And then in some places you're going to have band, orchestra, and chorus. But those are that's the trilogy, band, orchestra, chorus. If you add guitar, a lot of people are concerned it takes away numbers from any of these other disciplines. But the beauty is, it's answering the call of a different individual that you're going to find that may not want to take band. They may not want to be in the marching band. They may not want to do all the concerts. Not to say that in guitar, if you have a multi-level program, at the highest level, what you tend to have is you have a performing ensemble. So I mean that, you are going to have a performing group. But I would say at the beginning level, a lot of things, it's just an introduction to music. And what a great way to do it with a hands-on approach. There's no question that what you're going to find is those kids are going to be it. And, we were talking about the numbers, and this is just round numbers, but in Fairfax County at the high school level, you have 4,000 kids involved approximately in band. You've got 3,000 kids involved in orchestra. You have 3,000 kids enrolled in the choral program, and you have 2,000 kids in guitar. So that's pretty good numbers, and I don't, I'm not the strongest math person in the world, but if you take 2,000 and divide it by just 200 students, 10, okay, so that's saying you have 10 additional music educators. So that's kind of a neat thing. I know in a lot of the schools what you're going to find is the person that is teaching guitar is the band, orchestra, choral director, who because of their numbers needs to have something else to do, and guitar is one of those vehicles that particular music educator can embrace to attract more kids into the music department in their school. Well, this goes way back when, but I think it's a good one, and it's kind of funny. What happened is, this was really when I had first started teaching, and I was teaching guitar. And guitar was a kind of a curiosity, and things were a little looser, shall we say, in the '70s in the school programs than they are now. So a lot of times I would have students that would drop into my class and sit there and, and pick up a guitar and play and that sort of stuff. And my feeling at the time was, better they're sitting in class than outside in the halls or something getting in trouble. So I never had a problem with that. And so this was one period in the day, and I'm teaching, and these two guys come in, and they kind of scruffy looking guys, but didn't think anything of it. And they sat in the back of the class, and and they asked if they could use a guitar, and I assigned them a couple guitars because all the guitars were on the wall, you know, ready to go. And so they're sitting back there and they're playing and they're working with the rest of the class. And this administrator comes in, and it was one of those who knew a lot of the kids in the school, and he asked these kids, he goes, "I don't recognize you. What's your names?" And they, this is Bob Jones, whatever. He says, "Do you go to school here?" "No, sir, we go to Woodson, but they don't have guitar." So yeah, so it was kind of, the word was out that Robinson had guitar, and so, you know, we just, and that was, it wouldn't happen now. I mean, that wouldn't happen, but that was one of my favorite little stories of guitar. If you're a band, orchestra, choral director, and you're a little concerned about your numbers, and numbers meaning the enrollment within your music department, and you know, that's the one thing I'd like to say is we as music educators are glorified salespeople. If we don't have, we are an elective class. If a student does not choose to take your class, I hate to say it, but you're not going to have a job. So you have to think of ways to put those kids in the seats. And guitar is going to be one of those answers. It's a win-win situation. It's an inexpensive way to get kids in your program. The cheapest program that's going to be in a music department is what? Chorus. They don't need to buy an instrument. Their instrument is God-given. They've got it already. But what's the next thing? Well, I've got to tell you, you can pick up a guitar for, I won't say any brands, but I know that we just purchased at George Mason University, because my numbers were so large, we needed to purchase some additional guitars, less than $100. So that's, and it's a fine guitar. It's an entry-level guitar, but it's great. So if you figure to get 25 guitars, $2,500, I'm not going to pick up any instruments per se, but there's instruments that cost more than that these days. All right, so that's why you have a guitar program. But now what can you do with that? So in this Teaching Guitar Workshop, it's a summer program. It's a week long. We start Monday morning, and you go from typically 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Thursday. Friday we get out early. It's a program where it's co-sponsored by the National Association of Music Merchants, the Guitar and Accessories Manufacturers Association, Duquesne University, and NAFME. So what happens, NAFME is the one that's kind of a coordinating group with this, and they and Duquesne take care of the registration, and the fee I'll quote is $350, and that's what it cost in 2012. It may be different in 2013. But what that happens is you get, from Duquesne, you get 3 graduate credits. That's a deal right there. You get a guitar, and it's an excellent guitar. You get a stack of music that's about a foot high. You get accessories, and you get some pretty darn good teaching. And the funny thing is, I will say this. So the person that took my position at Robinson, he came, I talked him into taking the workshop this summer. He was working a summer camp for a number of years, but that summer camp didn't happen this year. So I said, why don't you come and take the workshop? And he did. And he got his degree in guitar and has his doctorate from GMU. And I thought, well, this is going to be interesting. And he was a really good litmus test to see, was it valid to him? And he said, you know, when you're in the classroom and you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's so refreshing to get a different view and a different, just possible, some ways of doing things. And so even for the tenured guitar educator, I think it's a great opportunity to take this class. So getting back to the band, orchestra, choral person, so by the end of that week, I guarantee that you will have the opportunity to get enough of a background that you're going to be way ahead of your kids, and you'll find that it's kind of fun. So as the chair of the Council for Guitar Education, I'd just like to say that what we're trying to do is to promote the guitar gospel. And basically what I'm saying is, you know, it's growing. I think it will continue to grow, and join the bandwagon of guitar education.